I'm loading and unloading. Hello everybody, my name is Senkara and welcome back to Gray Dusk and Dawn. I love the music so much, so be sure to watch the last episode if you haven't already, and subscribe, like, join the Discord server, link at the bottom of the description. So last time we left off, we were deciding what we were about to do. John's not home. What could I possibly do? Do I go see him? Do I wait? What do I do? And I think the best healthy decision is to start making dinner, because that gives us a distraction as well as waiting for him. You know, we don't want to go. He's studying. He's working. This is good. And I need to learn to be comfortable without him here. I need to be okay when he's not around. Yeah. So again, we're in the mind of Lizzie, and it's amazing. And she's making healthy decisions, and we are going to help her keep being healthy and good for her life and soul and brain. That's the aim anyway. It made her anxious not to take action, but Lizzie kept herself from leaving. Instead, she set about making dinner, trying not to watch the door or listen too closely for his arrival. What a mood, what a mood. He's getting a bit high there. Lizzie set about cutting up the vegetables. We have a lot of tomatoes, so it wasn't too hard. Removing the bad portions and reducing the rest to appetizing chunks, her knife flickered satisfyingly, perfectly balanced for her hand. They might need to make do in many ways, but she had excellent kitchen knives to work with. Even when money was tight, he had never suggested selling a knife collection. Aww, I don't know, that's just so cute. She has a knife collection. Oh, it's adorable. She would have, though. Would have gladly sold every knife and every single thing she owned for his sake. Aww. He's so cute. Knife still flying. Lizzie frowned to herself. No, that wasn't right. She'd need her axe and a few knives to defend him properly. Plus, John wouldn't want her to give up everything like that. No, I wouldn't. Considering such warm thoughts, Lizzie flipped her knife around in her hand a few unnecessary times as she finished cutting. Not the kind of thing she could do in public, but at home there was no one to see her but John, and he wouldn't be afraid of her. No, never. Yeah, I like that we can have a healthy relationship, despite everything that happened in the first game, you know, being locked in the basement and everything. It was pretty intense, but now we're happy together. It's wonderful. I love that. I love that. How we can just get over that. Maybe it's just Stockholm Syndrome, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. It might be too early to cook anything, so Lizzie set the chopped vegetables aside and converted the rest into a salad. She smiled to herself, but realized that she was out of preparations. Her gaze wandered towards the door. Fortunately, at that moment, she heard his footsteps outside. Lizzie was torn between rushing to greet him and waiting by her work, which had made her hesitate long enough for him to enter. Hi, John. Sorry, I got held back. That's no problem at all. I've gotten things ready for dinner. Looks like you've been busy. I'm really hungry, so is eating early fine? Of course. Let me just shut Facebook up. How dare you make noises at me? My editor, Lamau, okay? You know, Lamau okay to you too. Anyway, of course. Since she had done preparations already, Lizzie just set the water on to boil and added a few other flourishes. John set the table and she had beamed at him, happy to be working together. Aww. Look at his sullen gaze, his beautiful manly face. Eventually they both sat down together on opposite sides of their small table. It was nothing much, but it was theirs, and that was wonderful. She would have been happy just to watch him eat, but she knew that he loved to talk to her even more. The idea that he wanted to open herself up to him, even her darkest thoughts, always made her happy. I understand that. Oh, that's so good. I love that. But for today, she had nothing particularly dark on her mind. Well, that's good! So, you implied that you got held up in the lab? My nose is preventing me from doing the Lizzie voice. Don't mind that. So, you implied you got held up in the lab? Mostly, it was nothing unusual. Just had to answer some questions, but Dan caught me at the end, wanted me to switch shifts at the library. He wanted me to do tonight, which I said wouldn't work, so we had to do some weird rescheduling. Hasn't that been happening a lot lately? Yeah, and I might be picking up even more shifts. Figure it can't hurt, right? No, but she didn't like him to be away from home more often. Lizzie had to admit that the library job was a good one, allowing him to study and read most of the time, but she still didn't like it. I did work experience at a library in high school. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. It was really peaceful and relaxing. Yeah, it is a good job. At least she could visit him without being a hindrance. But you also need special qualification to work at a library. Though I suppose he might be working at a uni library, so it might not matter as much. Fair enough. Why did he feel the need to work so much, though? Lizzie had her own campus job, and the numbers of their debt weren't too awful thanks to scholarships. Would it be better if they could get rid of it? Maybe she should consider going back to the house and selling it after all. Though she considered asking him all those questions, Lizzie decided to hold back. John had many concerns of his own, and adding her anxiety to those might make him depressed again. She was stronger, so it was better for her to shoulder the burden. After dinner, they moved to the couch to work. It was a ratty old thing they had gotten off a curb, but it was fairly soft and had served to hold them. They sat on opposite sides, each with their textbooks, their feet touching in between. Aww. Just being able to be so near him so comfortably. Lizzie slid her feet against his leg and gave him a bright smile when he looked up at her. Oh. An old part of her wanted to act immediately, to have sex before the moment could pass. But they had been together for 2 years, and moments like this were hardly a rare thing. Slowly, her mind had learned that she didn't need to be desperate. The life she wanted with him was filled with moments like this too. Despite her thoughts circling around him, Lizzie finished her work rather quickly, because of it in a sense. There was a purpose to so many activities that had once been just going through the motions. That's good, that's really good. Finding purpose in things is the best thing you can do with your life, I think. Like YouTube, for me, that's a purpose, and I love it. Lizzie saw he was still busy working and spent a little while admiring him. She loved that look of concentration as he became fully absorbed with something. It was even better when it was directly towards her, but just his concentration was cute too. She could have watched forever, but once she got her fill, Lizzie stood up. She kissed him on the cheek, then headed back to the other side of the apartment. They didn't have a lot of space, but there was enough for her to retrieve her axe from the cupboard and experiment with it a little. She hadn't experienced any more physical instability since the accident, leaving her very capable of protecting him. But she needed to be cautious. Though she didn't like to think about it, Lizzie had to admit that there was a small chance she could hurt John by accident. Even if they never had a serious conflict with Koitek again, she needed her knives to feel secure. The idea that she might cause the slightest injury by accident. Wouldn't your knives help cause the injury? What? Lizzie practiced carefully, both following through with all the force she could muster, and bringing the axe to a halt moment's notice. The practice was serving, and Lizzie found herself smiling. I understand that, yeah. I dabble in weaponry. No, I do know how to use quite a few weapons, and practicing does help. Same with martial arts, unarmed and armed. It's all good, and yeah, I understand that, you know, full force and halting, you gotta learn control. That's good. I love that, that's really good. That's actually realistic. There had been a time in her life after she found him when it had been possible that she might harm him. Like, it's realistic in a sense that she knows what she's doing, and I love that. Like, the way they describe that shows how competent she is with the weapons, and that makes me feel a lot safer as John. In order to preserve their love, though, those thoughts now struck her as alien and horrible. She would never hurt him, never. But that meant she needed to always be prepared. When Lizzie finished, she discovered that John was watching her. She had no doubt that her expression was far from inviting, as she had been imagining cutting down the threats to them. But he was watching her fondly. Aww. Oh, she's so cute. I love them. Lizzie beamed at him and returned her axe to its place. That's adorable! I love that so much. Oh, look at her happy swinging her axe on. That's so cute. I love this relationship they have. It's awesome. Very cute. It's perfect. It's great. Are you done studying? For tonight, yeah. There's no point doing more since I can't read at work tomorrow. Since I can read at work tomorrow. Fucking my nose. Ugh. Like, I'm not sick, it's just the talking for some reason makes my nose go all weird. Ugh. Then she drifted closer to him, smile broadening as she pored over his face. He wasn't too tired. He had made a point of saying his work was done, and though he had been watching her with gentle affection, she knew there was more there. Oh my. Let's not get too saucy for the tube, eh? Lizzie eagerly slid down into his lap, her body pressing against his. Soon she could feel proof of his desire in his pants, and she cooed happily. Coo, coo, like a bird on a midsummer day. But though he put his arms around her waist, his eyes still watched her carefully. I know you need to get up early tomorrow, though. Do you want to? Yeah, it's fine, you know, it's... you know, desire in the pants, man, you know, I'm sure you will feel that. So let's end the episode. No, I'm kidding, we won't end it here, not today. Oh, you know, no sex before marriage, first of all, you rascals, but I suppose I've already been there, so have sex. Grinning, Lizzie leaned in closer and kissed him. There had been so many small kisses throughout the day, each adding a little warmth inside her, and now she returned it all, kissing him deeply and passionately. Yeah, see, if we didn't do this, she might go mad with that. Like, literally go mad, you know what she's like. But you gotta let it all out, so she can focus on the day tomorrow. His hands tightened on her waist, holding her a little closer. Most of the hesitance and uncertainty were gone now, since they were familiar with each other's bodies. She had never had trouble, needing him too much to be hesitant, but John moved more slowly. It sent a thrill through her every time he touched her confidently. Ah, for fuck's sake! Go away. We don't want any. No selling me thing. Have you heard about Jesus? Yes, I have. Don't you worry, so bugger on off. We're busy. Lizzie bent closer to him, and there was a loud knock on the door. Oh no, dear. Her eyes narrowed to slits as she glared murder toward the entrance. Me too. We don't have to answer. Another knock, louder. No, ignoring it was not an option. Lizzie sprang up from his lap and wrenched open the door. Well, I did say that don't make it too saucy for the tube. You know how it is. Nice glasses. Ooh, what a babe. Ooh. Anyway, the boy on the other side was someone she recognized from one of John's classes. John said he was intelligent. Lizzie didn't find him annoying, so under normal circumstances he was fine. At the moment, she felt only rage towards him, barely contained within her smile. He was physically fit, but no threat. Her axe could be in her hand before he... Hey, Aaron, what's up? You guys want to check the news? Francesca Kesley is gonna... Seriously, just do it. It took Lizzie an anxious moment to identify the name. A public figure, not someone they knew, related to the pharmaceutical industry. Not an immediate threat, but an annoyance at this moment. The news seemed to matter John, so he headed to turn on the salvage TV in the corner. Lizzie reluctantly acknowledged that Aaron was going to be an entity in her life, at least for a little while, and allowed him to step inside. After flipping to the right channel, John watched carefully as the news report ran. Aaron slouched against the nearby wall, leaving Lizzie to hover behind John. When she heard Koitek's name, she began to pay full attention, soaking up the information like a sponge in water. This idea they're talking about, what did we miss? They didn't go into detail, but something about how sloppy pharmaceutical companies used to be. A whole town of people got sick. Bad stuff. Haha, yeah. Whole town of people. Definitely not where we're from. Ha 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 ha. Don't worry about it, Aaron. Don't worry about it. We're bros. Never hurt you. Homie. My home slice. My intelligent man. Never. Lizzie's heart began beating rapidly. Was it possible that the report mentioned her? No, not her specifically. There were privacy concerns, but it might have referenced her experiment. Lizzie's fingers began twitching at her sides, which drew John's attention. He frowned a little, then returned to Aaron. How many cases did they talk about? Anything involving specific individuals? Just general information that I heard. Why? Exactly the question that Lizzie had been afraid of, but John didn't seem disturbed. I used to be a part of the Paxatine trial that didn't go well, at least for me. I was wondering if it got mentioned. Oh, is that how you got clued into all this? Yeah. Behind him, Lizzie let her fingers slowly relax. John had been thinking of her, hadn't exposed her to any unnecessary attention. Of course he would. She was awful for doubting him. While she was feeling a warm glow, she missed John's response. What was the question? I missed the question. What? Well, anyway, they only emphasize the biggest cases. Kelsey is trying to prove that the harms are large enough that government policy needs to change. Yeah, for sure. So that was how it was connected. Francesca Kelsey was a researcher who used to work for the Food, Drug and Cosmetics Administration, but left as part of a protest. Yeah! Riot! Anarchs! Heck and hey, where's Damsel? I miss her. She had been campaigning for increased powers to regulate the pharmaceutical mega corporation since then. Lizzie usually didn't have many opinions about politics, me neither, but she approved in this case. If it did damage to Koitek. She had never seen the woman herself though. Lizzie watched curiously until the news station played a clip of Francesca speaking about the report, then began chewing on one knuckle. So I think it is, isn't it? Though Francesca appeared serious and dressed professionally, she was too young for Lizzie's taste. Oh, is that all? Maybe it was fine for John to pay attention to her since he was doing important work related to both of them, but his attention focusing on anyone else made Lizzie anxious. This is good to know, but why'd you run over here? The congressional debates are going to take forever. Oh, that wasn't the urgent part. They said it earlier. Kelsey is going on a speaking tour trying to raise awareness of the issue, but not all the locations are set. We need to get her on campus, man. Ah, I get it. I don't know how much help we can be, though. Well, and I wanted to ask if you would join again. We need more people to lead this if we're going to gain any momentum. John hesitated, looking towards her. His mouth had opened slightly as if to ask something, but he saw the tension in her eyes. Aaron looked back too, but Lizzie pulled her finger from her mouth and didn't see past her smile. And he didn't see past her smile. It's going to be hard for us to commit to that, I think, but keep us informed about what happens, alright? Alright. I won't press. I'm gonna get Kelsey here, though. Surely we're a big enough campus. Yeah, surely, for sure. Sure. Moment's kinda died now, that's upsetting. While John made small talk and walked Aaron out, Lizzie stayed in front of the television and kept watching the broadcast. Koitek had tried to take John away from her. She had feared 1,000 things, and many times he had calmed her fears, but back then, she had been absolutely right. An intellectual part of her knew that it was a huge corporation, manufacturing many common drugs. Not all of them were ill-advised as Paxatine. Not every experiment was harmful. Not every employee could be as terrible as Mrs. Smith. Was she really that terrible? It didn't matter. Lizzie hated all of them. But she couldn't hack the entire corporation, so she had no choice but to hope that something could be done. That was why she didn't mind people like Aaron so much. They could be useful. Maybe even this Francesca, but that didn't mean Lizzie wanted her to come here, especially since she might bring attention from Koitek. Was this what she had been fearing? That was why they couldn't get married? Not with an event like this looming in the future? Not while something could go wrong? All too soon the broadcast moved to other subjects. Though the pharmaceutical giants were becoming increasingly important to everyday life, they were still usually ignored compared to the banal, it's like anal but not as good, banal celebrity news. Lizzie didn't care about that, since random foolish celebrities wouldn't attract John's eye. She still moved to turn the television off though. Good. When she turned back, she discovered John was watching her with concern. Everything alright, John? She had been aware that Aaron had left, of course, but that was the periphery of her thoughts. Only now did she reflect on the amount of time that had passed. Are you worried about it? I'm just afraid something will happen. Koitek will be watching. John approached and wrapped his arms around her. Lizzie eagerly let herself rest against his chest. Maybe, but everyone will be watching. Francesca Kelsey is one of the main political opponents, so they have to know that everything around her will be scrutinized. Even if Aaron gets her to come, I'm sure it will pass without incident. That was logical. It was probably true, and though Lizzie cut and recut his sentence a dozen different ways, she didn't discern any real affection when he spoke the other woman's name. She was just a political figure working on an important cause, no more. She wasn't a threat. I know, but the reminder has me feeling so stressed. I understand. Let's just get some sleep, okay? Too late, Lizzie realized that she had worked against herself. Though she felt anxious and twitchy now, if he had initiated again, she would have happily welcomed it. Sex would have let her take her mind off everything else for a time. But now, he would just worry that she was only doing it for his sake. And as much as she tried to convince him otherwise, it might trouble him, and that always made things less enjoyable. Accepting the way things had gone, Lizzie smiled warmly at him, and pulled them both toward the bedroom. Please hold me until I fall asleep. As they lay together, Lizzie curled up against his side. She began to feel calm again. Being near him always generated a deep warmth within her, and just lying in his arms like this was peaceful bliss. Maybe John had been right not to have sex that night. Her love for him was depthless, but that wasn't as perfect as he deserved. Sometimes her mind wouldn't cooperate, or her past got in the way. What she needed most now was to lie there with him, together. For her it was another glorious element of their life together, and as John stroked her hair affectionately, she reminded herself that he was happy just to be like this as well. Smiling, Lizzie drifted to sleep. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, you guys are killing me. You're adorable. I love them so. Ooh, what's this? The warehouse stretched forever in every direction. Sterile white walls yawning toward eternity. In the center of it, they were impossibly tiny, yet they were everything. A dream? A memory. Her memory of the scene played out again. Mrs. Smith having both of them trapped, trying to turn them against each other. In real life, she had fought back. John had helped her, and trusted her even at their worst, and they had escaped. What did I miss? What? What? Okay, so I guess I didn't get the true ending last time. Either that or she's making shit up, and this is, well, not making it up, but this is how it's seen in her mind, but... So if I had stayed in town instead of leaving, would Mrs. Smith have done something? Was Mrs. Smith actually the bad guy? I liked her. She was giving me Koitek drugs, actually. Interesting. Let me know down in the comments what happened there. But this time, instead of using an injection to cause him pain, Mrs. Smith began removing her clothes. She cast Lizzie a mocking smile, then slid into John's lap, pressing herself against his chest. He struggled, but he was bound too tightly to do anything as Lizzie tore out of the dream and found herself bolt upright in bed. Why is our bed in the living room? She had snagged her knife from its place and held it in front of her, gleaming in the moonlight. It took her a moment to come back to herself, to realize that it had been a dream. John was lying beside her, coming awake as he realized how upset she was. There was no fear in his eyes, but she could see the deep concern there. Man, I was really right to leave town then. Surely that didn't happen. Surely that was just in her head, and it was a dream, right? It was a dream. That couldn't have happened. Could it? Lizzie, are you alright? I'm fine, John. Just a bad dream. She gave him a beaming smile and set the knife aside casually, but her acting wasn't good enough. There were still those lines of concern on his face. It was wonderful that he had come to know her better and better, but that meant she couldn't keep herself from being a burden to him. It can be hard to shake those off. Come here and rest, Lizzie. Though she wanted to pretend that everything was alright, she couldn't resist his soothing voice. Lizzie curled up next to him again, resting her head in his chest. It did feel wonderful, pushing aside the remnants of the dream, but it wasn't how it was supposed to be. No? Why not? She was supposed to protect him. Right, I see. John was the one who was so sad, who needed to be protected from the world. He carried so much weight, she couldn't add anything to it. Lizzie bit her lip and squeezed him tighter, wishing she could be perfect. No, Lizzie, you don't need to be perfect. You're perfect the way you are, and I love you. But, you know, we can protect each other. That's what I want. Protect each other. I'm sorry, John. Don't say that. I'm glad I can be here for you. Yeah. Why do your eyes always look so tired, John? Is that just because of the art style, because of bad drawing, or is he actually tired and doesn't want to be with us anymore? And if I do this, it looks like my screen is really wobbly on camera. It's funny. You always are. Come here and try to relax. That's better, thank you for that face. Oh man, I'm turning into Lizzie. She snuggled against him, much of her anxiety fading. I'm not. But what if one day he wasn't there? What if someone took him from her? She would bathe the world in blood, and it would do no good because he would be gone and she would have nothing. Nothing. Lizzie slowly managed to let go of her other thoughts and just enjoy his presence. But it took her a very long time to go to sleep. Ho 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 ho! Okay, that's a good spot to end. Wow. I don't know, I don't know. What do we think of today's episode? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and be sure to subscribe for more. Join the Discord server, link at the bottom of the description. But man, what do we think? That was tense. Poor Lizzie. Oh man. And I'm really getting into her head now. Like I do this in games. I get into character. I don't know if it's just me getting into character, if I'm like this too, because I kind of am a bit, like, I can see myself in her, which is a bit concerning, but it helps me play the game better, so whatever, I'm sure it's fine. So let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you can relate to Lizzie at all, or am I just insane? And be sure to subscribe for more. My name is Senkara. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya. Man, I love them so much though. They're so sweet together. It's great. It's great. I love it. I love it.